Greetings, technology enthusiasts. I am Chandrahas and I am delighted to be here with you representing CyberBrainer. Do you not believe that the technology sector is advancing at an unprecedented rate, making this an opportune moment to acquire the skills that will facilitate your progress? With CyberBrainer, we are empowering you to take control of your own future. At CyberBrainer, we do not merely impart your interests. We assert that information is power, yet it is the application of knowledge that distinguishes you. Our courses are meant to equip you with essential skills, whether you are pursuing data science, understanding artificial intelligence, or delving into cybersecurity. Let us commence the session and seize the future today. Thank you.
Not sure whether this tenant was handled with any kind of standard worker information, but if it is not, we'll see after you create the report what kind of process that you need to review to manage standard data. I said similar to the matrix, you have trending report actually, which where you need to take the trend source actually. Or if you wanted to go with advanced, but you wanted to have the trended data, you can look for trended sources. This is going to be kind of business object. We'll use even when you actually create trending report also. When you go with trending the same options, what you have a matrix will be coming. Grouping, column grouping, group grouping, drill down and detail data fields. You'll be getting same. What you see in matrix. Only thing is your source will be different in matrix and trended intended. You'll be using only one kind of source which is standard in matrix. You can go with any other business object or source in order to get accurate data. Similarly, now I'm creating advanced with standard worker information. I'll try to know the future heights, future terminations for getting in the organization. We'll try to find that information. Future high, in a sense, anything future from today, right? If employee is getting terminated today is getting current data. But other than today, like tomorrow, day after tomorrow, anything after today is a kind of future termination we can consider, right? We'll try to see how you can get that information. And normally normal business. Object worker will not, give you a kind of information of future terminations. You need to actually go with the business process transactions in order to know all the future terminations or future any kind of action events that are happening with employee. But your trended data source will be the kind of trended thing, right? Which will be looking for trends happening within Workday. It will give even future terminations also. But the way that you deal with the report, it can give the future highest future terminations also. And it will give you a tiny bit. Since you have selected advanced, you got a chance to actually make your report as a web service. I'm not able to select anything. You have taken trended worker information and where you wanted to view the termination data, let's say featured termination. We'll see how to handle this one. As I said, trended worker is a kind of unique business subject that holds different data. When you take worker, it will not look for worker business subject. All the worker information will be coming from trended workers. You need to know when someone asks you to actually get a tense of termination, trends of hiring. When you get such kind of requirements, forget about the format at least. Source. You need to know which should be your trended source, then the format and all. Probably you can think which report type will work based on your needs and all. That can be internet workers or advanced. You can actually take that one go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's filter the data since we wanted to have feature date, feature terminations right. It should be after today's date, which it should be after today, which are nothing but a kind of terminations. You have two options. You know when you wanted to filter the data, whether you wanted to have activity or snapshot. Snapshot is nothing but which gives you no information right from the effective date of the determination, and if you're taking as an activity, which is nothing, but will be nothing based on current date. It will look for even beyond that particular date. Snapshot is something different and activity something different. When you go with snapshot, which actually looks for complete information of termination without your current, your past, your future, it will give complete information of snapshot and activity is nothing. But we are now looking for feature terminations activity. This is nothing, but we are looking for certain kind of scenarios to get all the feature information. Instead of snapshot actually getting all the information from the snapshot, I want to get all information from activity. That probably you need to let when you are creating in any kind of terminated information, and termination is something, a kind of transaction, and but the writer, whenever you terminate an employee or whenever business process called termination triggers in Workday, your termination even executes an employee will get terminated. Similarly, whenever you wanted to hire an employee, hire business process has to execute and then the employee will get hired. Similarly, when you wanted to promote an employee from one position to another position, a business process transaction called job change will be triggering and promotion will happen. For any kind of transaction that needs to happen in Workday, business process plays an important role in running in the background and making the transaction to get complete. And now, since we are talking something about termination, whenever termination has to trigger in Workday business, process called termination has to run in the background. Without that business process running, employee will not get terminated in Workday system. If a business process running properly and if it got corrupts and stops, running and in the background, whenever a termination has to happen and your business process is not supporting to terminate, there will be no termination is happening in the system. Remember that we are now trying to get some information on terminations. It is nothing, but you are trying to get all this information from termination business process. Another way that you can actually filter here is business process type kind of third scale, build you and you. What should be your business process here? What should be your business process? Termination should be a business process. Yes, and who will get termination? Who will be getting terminated? Anyone can get terminated, right? Contractor can get terminated. Employee can get terminated, anyone can get terminated, right? Anyone who will be getting terminated has to undergo through termination business process. But most of the organizations, what they'll do is contractors. They'll be not tracking, they'll not go with, they'll not maintain any kind of standard business process for hiring contractors or for hiring for terminating contractors. They'll just give create a profile and give a start date of that contractor without any kind of a normal business process. Will be because when employees undergoing with getting hired under a specific business process called hiring, all the things has to happen. Benefit elections has to be configured, benefit elections has to be provided, and any kind of bonus amount there, one-time bonus has to be given. All these things employee will be getting, and thus the reason why the hire business process is configured with all these steps, like assigning any kind of one-time bonus if it is eligible, and creating any kind of benefit plan based on the hire date. All these things will be happening through benefit thing, through business process. But for contractors, all these things will not be applicable, right? They'll be going outside of that business process and create manually the contractor profile. Actually, and similarly, when you wanted to get termination information, you need to know it has to be in 99.9 case. In a percent cases, you will be dealing with employee termination only, because you wanted to actually know the termination information of an employee. But contractor, you can get it. But in most of the scenarios, most of the customers will not be maintaining any kind of standard business process for contractors. Whenever they wanted to a contractor ends, they'll just expire that the first day account and make that employee to leave, but they will not the terminate contractors with the business process transaction. Whenever you are dealing with any kind of hiring, a termination with standard, make sure that you are doing for employee only. We'll take worker type as employee. What should be your worker type should be employed, because for contractors will not be looking for any kind of business process, transactions and determinations. But in case it's just a kind of observation from from my experience, but in most of the customers who actually wanted to go with proper format of hiring beat contractor, repeat full time employee. If they wanted to go with standard business process, that should be, then in that case you can go with your, whenever you're dealing with hiring or terminations, you can go. You can include even contractors in your criteria if there is a kind of data that you feel it is there. But if in most of the cases they will not consider contractor as a kind of, whatever features that will be given for employee will not be considering contractor to avail those things. Record date is nothing but when termination activity has got recorded. We have taken activity of termination. Business process type should be a kind of termination, and worker time should be employee and record date, which is nothing but when termination has got recorded. That should be not today, but greater than today. If we don't want to go with the standard dates. But all the times in our report has to dynamically pick after today. You have delivered fields called today, where you can get from another field of your report filter, and your report will be working as needed. Can we have like record date as a prompt where we can give the date? Anything you can do. Now I'm asking like, can we do in this report? We can also refresh. There are some kind of default prompts that you need for this one. There are default prompts. That is there with the source. We'll be actually getting with this record type. I got typed. These needs to be actually utilized for prompting your data. Time series, date, from when to when you wanted to have will be swimming. Let's go with sequencer start date and then date and contingent worker type. We don't want it to have. We'll not be looking for contingent and employee type since we are already filtering with the employee type as uh, here again an employee type is different whether it is a regular or any kind of fixed term, any kind of those kind of employee types, and you will be giving and record type. We have already given activity and worker type. You will be working type. Also, we have given an active remove headcount. They will exclude from headcount. When you actually check this checkbox, the name itself is saying like remove, exclude from headcount. Whatever. Your headcount reports are there. They should not be. This checkbox, it's a kind of Boolean value. This actually exclude from the headcount. What you typically have when you're dealing with headcount reports with trended, this kind of field will allow to actually exclude from that headcount. It's a kind of a Boolean value. You need to check whether you want it to actually exclude or include in the headcount reports active. This is also a kind of Boolean value and worker type. Since we are already given my God, everything has gone. I believe, let me see, this should be the report. Right, but not sure all the fields will be there or not because we have not saved it right. All the fields has gone. Let me quickly add the fields that we wanted to have. Add the fields that we have created. Alright. Add the fields that we wanted to do. 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 Add the fields that we could develop. Add the fields that we wanted to do. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You want this to have a kind of prompt, right? If you can record date as prompt and coming to the prompts, we start date and end date, which would be a kind of a different value condition workers. We don't want to be used. This is fine. Do not prompt at one time. And employee type, since we've already taken as an employee, will not be. Or employee type is kind of let's see options, what it gives you take full time, a regular kind of thing. And the code type which we already taken as an active. Let's make it as do not prompt. and worker type as an employee, which we have taken mark as prompt and will be going with start date, end date with employee type as fixed, since you're already given the regular. If you record date which comes from your report, will give last no default value. You can just keep it as it is, that you can take care when you're running a report. Now let's see if you're we got two things. We had the field data source filter is required. Time series start date. Let's take, I don't know, this is not leave tenant, right? Not sure whether what data that it has, but let's take the 8th is not leave tenant, right? Future terminations will not be processed. Let me go back. Started when we go back, we're getting back data terminations. But feature also you'll be getting, since you know this is not a live tenant, right? We are all the feature. Reddit hate. Our transactions are performed. We are getting a blank. But based on this, you should be able to go back and get accurate data. And also based on the date range that you wanted to have. Let's say here I've taken something till today. I've taken till today with the snapshot date there was an activity, and record date of termination does got me two terminated records, which you can actually take it as a kind of a trended information between the date, range of terminated and employees. Similarly, you can play around with any of the information with tender. If you wanted to know the any kind of change business process transactions happened, let's say promotion or job change, anything that you wanted to know. Only thing is that you need to do is in the filter, I've given business process type as terminations. Just remove the termination and we will look for all the transactions. But when you actually filter with terminations, you don't look for terminated one unless you the trended one. It's simple, but only thing is you need to know how trended works versus a trended one. It's simple, but only thing is that you need to know that. You need to know That's how you actually deal with the worker. Related sources and objects will be managing the same way with your filters of, trended workers. Anything unclear? Anything that you wanted to check or clarify here? And it would be, since you know it is not regular worker, right? Probably you'd be having some kind of questions managing trended. If there is anything unclear, you can check. I would like to do this by myself, and if I can, I'll ask questions in the next round. Because when I'll do it, I'll understand what I didn't understand as well. One more thing that I wanted to show with when you're managing trended information. I think I didn't proxy as Logan, right? That's the reason why I'm not getting few options. Let me proxy as a Logan and show some of the options that you can handle during trended reporting. When your report is not pulling any data, when you manage any kind of and that reporting related stuff. Just come to moment, internet, focus or task, and here just click on refresh. It will refresh the date and will actually pull all the records you'll be getting. Far we have tended records processed around them. This is the head container that we have far till date. But if there is anything that you wanted to include fewer employees, that has to be a part of 100 who might have got tied, who might have got terminated, who might have got, any kind of transactions happening in Workday, you can just refresh this one and it will execute and refresh your source to get the data. Maintain trended workers just to keep in your mind, which actually behind the screens it runs and groups all the trended workers into one source, which you'll be actually managing trended things. There's one thing you need to remove. You need to remember while working with standard reports, and the one that we have created, right, advanced report, is a straightforward one. We just took very basic fields and try to see if we can get future terminations, which we are not, because since this is not a live tenant, you will obviously see no one making such kind of transactions. But we were able to go back and find previous terminations in our report. That should actually give some kind of examples. But you can actually manage with any kind of same report. What I have created, just change the transfer, change the business process type from termination to change job. From the termination to hire, that you will be getting that relevant data when you run a report. Just try with that option. And also now we have taken advanced report, and there's a reason why we're getting all the things in a tabular format. But in case if you wanted to have a kind of trended information to be populated in a graphical format, then you need to choose your report type as trended instead of advanced. That you will be getting an option to actually choose the chart in a way that you wanted to populate the data and get it. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.